Hey everybody, I'm Jer. Welcome to my channel. All right, let's just hop right in here. So, Bakkt is going down in price. People are asking what has changed, what's going on. Honestly, nothing has changed. If we look here, 921 down. Well, not down to 921, losing over, it looks like 39% over the week. Okay. And it dropped like 30% yesterday, on news that wasn't really news. If you had watched my videos, if you had seen my DD report, let's look at that. It's right there. I talk about the shares that are locked up. And they are right there. Right there. Okay, so shares locked, 207,000. Part of that is that 190 something thousand that we had already, like, that are being like advertised as if there's some kind of, or in news articles as if there's something new that was never talked about. It was already talked about. Like this was already talked about. That's how I knew about it. All it is the company is registering shares that we already knew existed, because I've talked about it in videos here, for sale. Now then, can they sell them right away? No, they cannot. The shares are still locked up. They're locked up until April of 2022. And I've talked about it. Talked about it in the DD report here, and talked about it in videos prior. Okay, so what we're going to do is go and look at what is apparently newsworthy, but isn't, in my opinion, newsworthy. But news sources have to like cover it because it's something that's happened, and it makes the prospectus official. Whereas the prospectus before was kind of like preliminary and starting off. This makes it official. So it just makes it official that those shares that I've already talked about exist and can go up for sale in April. This is not something that deserves a sell-off of 30%, but it got it. So let's go ahead and look here. Okay. So this is the original 190,726, or 190,726,638. This is the original document that was filed as a preliminary prospectus. We talked about this. I showed it in videos. We talked about this. So if you had been watching my videos, you knew that this was coming. It shouldn't be a surprise. Like, and even like Webull and Robinhood and Google all took into account these 190 million shares. Google and all these others, Robinhood, Webull, took all of these shares into account. So whenever you bought in, if you were looking at Robinhood or looking at Webull for the market cap, which you should always be looking for market cap, because that shows you what a company is trading at, valued at, based off of the amount of shares and the amount that those shares are trading for. So if you got in with Webull and you looked at the market cap and saw, oh, 4 billion. Okay, well, these shares are already accounted for in that. That was already a part of this. Like, Webull's already done it, Robinhood had already done it, Google had already done it, had already added these shares in. There's no additional 190 million shares being added. That's already been baked into the market cap on Google, Webull, and Robinhood. Now then, like I talked about in videos before, Benzinga showed like way lower than that, like 500 million or something like that, because they hadn't accounted for what was going to come. But thankfully, Webull and Robinhood had already accounted for that. So this is the original document. You scroll down and let's go. You can find this on sec.gov. Keeps going, keeps going. Where are we at here? Maybe I went too far. I may have already passed it. Okay, yeah. So, lockup restrictions. We'll read this again. Pursuant to stockholders' agreement and the insider letter agreement, each as described in the certain relationships and related party transactions, other than for certain permitted transfers, OpCo equity holders may not transfer or make a public announcement of any intention to transfer. Transfer being selling, giving away, whatever, shares. Any of our equity securities, shares, other than any PIPE shares or OpCo equity securities of OpCo before April 15th, 2022, the OpCo lockup period. And the sponsors and insiders may not transfer or make a public announcement of any intention to transfer any founder shares until the earlier of October 15th, 2022, and subsequent to the closing, if the closing price of our Class A common stock equals or exceeds $12 per share for any 20 trading days within a 30 trading day period. Period commencing at least 150 days after the closing, which puts it into April, middle of April, so about the same as this date, April 15th. So keep in mind, April is whenever these shares become tradable. But this is already accounted for in Weeble's market cap configuration, their math for the market cap. It's in Robinhood's market cap math, and it's in Google's market cap math, and probably others' market cap math. Benzinga was the one that I found that showed that it wasn't. This wasn't accounted for yet. And it may not be accounted for until the lockup period is done. I'm not for sure. Okay. So the date on which we complete a liquidation, merger, capital stock exchange, reorganization, or any similar transaction that results in the holders of our Class A common stocks having the right to exchange their Class A common stock for cash, securities, or other property. The founder shares lockup period, and together with the OpCo lockup period, the lockup periods, see certain relationships, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's the original document. Let's head on over to the new one. All right. Prospectus relates to the issuance and use by us and the resell by the selling security holders as defined in selling security holders below of up to 190,726,638. Let's go back over here. 190,726,638. Shares did not change. They're the same number. Okay. This prospectus also relates to resale by selling security holders of 32,500 common stock PIPE shares issued in PIPE financing, 5,184,300 shares of Class A common stock issued to VPC Impact Acquisition, the sponsor, and certain of its affiliates, founder shares, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so same thing. The sell holder may sell any, all, or none of the securities, and we do not know when or in what amount the selling security holders may sell their securities, hereunder following the date of this prospectus. The selling security holders may sell the securities described in the prospectus in a number of different ways and varying prices. See plan of distribution for more information on how the selling security holders may sell their securities. We are registering the offer of the sale of the securities to satisfy certain registration rights we have granted under certain agreements between us and the selling security holders. Now then, so this is just registering those shares. This is just making it official. Those shares exist, and they're talking about the agreement they already had. The legacy OpCo shares and the founder shares are subject to certain lockup restrictions as described in more detail below under the offering lockup restrictions. So the lockup restrictions are still in place. Nothing has changed unless you were just going off of Benzinga's market cap calculation, and in that case something has changed. but it hasn't really officially changed, and it won't officially change. Those shares don't become available for sale or trade until April. So look down here, the offering, lockup restrictions. Pursuant to the stockholders' agreement and the insider letter agreement, each as described in certain relationships and related party transactions. Other than for certain permitted transfers, OpCo equity holders may not transfer or make a public announcement of any intention to transfer any of the equity securities other than any PIPE shares. The PIPE shares have been available, or OpCo's equity securities OpCo before April 15th, 2022, the OpCo lockup period. And the sponsor of the insiders may not transfer or make a public announcement of any intention to transfer any founder shares until the earlier of October 15, 2022, and subsequent to the closing, if the closing price of our Class A common stock equals or exceeds $12 per share for any 20 trading days within any 30-day period. Commencing at least 150 days after the closing of the date on which they complete the liquidation merger. This is the same exact verbiage that was on the original. Like I said, if you've watched my videos, you knew this was coming. You knew that this is going to happen. You prepared in your mind. You knew, okay, if you got into Webull whenever it was $4 billion and you're okay with that, you should still be okay with it because nothing has changed here. Like Webull still has the same market cap. They're not going to change it. Even after April, whatever, it doesn't change because they've already configured. Like if you look at shares outstanding, this is already configured into their math. Same thing with Robinhood, same thing with Google. So if you were in it for those amounts, then you already know, like this is already baked into this. So I don't understand the panic. It just makes it official. But again, if you hadn't watched the videos and if you hadn't done your research, if you hadn't seen the DD report I put together, then you wouldn't know this, and you wouldn't know that those shares are not going up on the market right now. Like this is just registering so that those shareholders can sell them later on at whatever date they want to sell them. It doesn't mean that they're going to sell them tomorrow because they can't sell them tomorrow. They can't sell them until April 15th, middle of April. So there's still time. Until then, it's just the 57 million shares that are tradable. And that's been the case all along. And it'll be the case until middle of April. So let's go back here. All right. Actually, let's go here. I like this one. So it dropped down on news that we already knew or should have already known to 921, it looks like. Again, this is the only amount of trading shares is 57 million currently. That's it. 57 million. 57 million. Let's just say 58 million. Round up. 58 million shares. So if you sold, then you panic sold on something you should have already known. Nothing has changed. We already knew this. Like I said, it was already in my DD report. Here, you can also find that on stockvoyager.com. But it was already there. Like we already knew this was coming. This kind of explains everything about the company, but we talk about the lockup shares. These shares are locked up. We know they exist. Continue with business. If you sold, then... But whatever, cool. Move on. Okay, that's all I have. I just wanted to talk on that because I don't want people like stressing out. Like this guy back here. Like, look at him. He's having a bad day. He lost everything that day, apparently. This guy is like chewing on a pen. He's lucky if it doesn't like break in his mouth and get ink on him and everyone else that's like within, like, they're all so close together. This guy's focused. He's like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. The guy behind him, look at that face, or in front of him. Okay, that's all I have. I love you all so much. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe. and you would have known that this stuff was happening. And yeah, that's all I got. Love you all, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.